This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
Well, and good morning. It's a Tuesday edition of Morning News on Newday. I am Anthony Jackson. Coming up this morning. Suspected kidnapper in Accra flees while being interrogated by the police. Amnesty International Ghana urges government to provide conducive environment for the safety and security of journalists. Former CEO of Maslok, Sedina Tamaklo, and operations manager Daniel Axim accused of causing financial loss to the state, among other charges, granted bail. And also in the bulletin is the harrowing story of a mother whose 11-year-old son's kidney cancer has virtually turned her into a beggar. And on the foreign front, 7 dead in Paris building fire. A suspected kidnapper fled while being interrogated by the police close to the Ghana Institute of Journalism here in Accra. A woman believed to be in her 30s was seen lying in the car before the driver sped off.
According to eyewitnesses, the suspect, driving a black Mitsubishi Pajero with registration number GT 73510, stopped to ask for directions to the main road linking the Ghana Institute of Journalism and Osu. A young lady who appeared dazed was seen lying on the front passenger seat of the car. This raised suspicion from the people in the neighborhood, who raised an alarm.
I was sitting outside the gate there. When the car, as if he make like he's passing, he turned the car over there, and then he come and park here. I could see that they opened the boot. I was there when I heard that the car moved, and then the police people started shooting, giving warning shots. And they took a taxi from there. They were shooting at that. They went and then the taxi driver came back. We stopped and asked him, did they get the driver? They said no, they couldn't get him.
Private security and police personnel from a nearby residence rushed to the scene to interrogate the man who had a police cap lying in his car. He explained that she offered the lady who is his customer a lift, but when he was asked why he had a police cap in the car when he has clearly indicated he's not a policeman, he sped off. The police fired gunshots and subsequently chased him in a taxi, but could not catch up with him. The incident has since been reported at the Tesano police.
And a coalition of aggrieved men's good customers have threatened a nationwide protest against government over its failure to pay them their monies. According to the group, the disposition of government so far raises serious doubts over its commitment to resolve their problem.
The agitated customers at a news conference outlined several proposals governments could adopt to manage the situation. According to the secretary of the group, Emmanuel Odate, members of the group will not rest until their demands are met. They also indicated their resolve to petition foreign embassies and Ghana's development partners on the issue.
This ultimatum expired on Thursday, 7 February 2019. In the event that government failed to act fast and swiftly on our plight and neglect our call for a commission of inquiry, the aggrieved customers of men's good will lead a 1 million membership demonstration across the country.
Yes. They insisted there's nothing wrong with government using taxpayers' money to settle them.
We want to say emphatically, with no revocation, that we, coalition of aggrieved customers of men's good members, are looking forward to receiving our money in full of our principal before we can rest in this our struggle for justice and accountability. Yes. In the same way, government was able to bend its fingers to salvage the collapsed bank owned by private individuals because of failed government regulatory institutions. The same way we, coalition members, want government to bend its fingers to fulfill our demand.
The group also had some few words to share on the arrest of Men's Good CEO Nana Appiah Mensah in Dubai.
Even though Yoko alleged recent freezing of assets and properties of Namwan and Men's Good appears rather belated. However, we are concerned that Interpol database is yet to register details of Nana Appiah Mensah, even though his warrant is a red alert.
Now, former Chief Executive Officer of the Microfinance and Small Loans Center, Maslock, Sedinan Christine Tamaklo, and Operations Manager of Maslock, Daniel Agzim, have both pleaded not guilty to 78 charges leveled against them. The two who were granted bail were ordered by the court to present their passports to the court registrar and to meet the bail condition before leaving the court premises.
The two, Sedna Christian Tamaklo and Daniel Agzim, pleaded not guilty to stealing, causing financial loss to the state, causing loss to public property, improper payment of public funds, unauthorized commitment in financial obligation for the government, money laundering and contravention of the Public Procurement Act. Making their first appearance before the Financial and Tax High Court, their charges were read to them, which followed with their pleas. The accused persons were granted bail on the application of their lawyers to the tune of 5 million cedis to Sedina Tamaklo with 2 sureties and 1 million cedis to Daniel Agzim with 1 surety. The court, presided over by Justice Sophia Sewa Asaribotri, ordered the prosecution to, within 10 days, ensure the defense teams are served with all necessary documents and the defense team 3 weeks to study the documents. Representing the state was the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Sophia Ekofo. The first accused person, Sedina Tamaklo, was represented by Agbesi Jakpasu, and the second accused person, Daniel Agzim, was represented by Alfred J. Mensah. Closed-door case management proceedings will begin on March 4, which will be followed by open court trial. Godfrey Tanam, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, the news of her 11-year-old son's kidney cancer did not only break her heart, but also turned her into a beggar. Hannah Kujo also washes clothes for people at the Kolebu Mothers Hostel to take care of her son and herself. The mother of 3 needs support to cater for her child suffering from kidney cancer.
11-year-old Solomon Kujo, popularly called Baumia, have had his education truncated at this tender age due to his condition. He has been away from school for the past 1 year. His mother, Hannah Kujo, says Solomon became ill and started vomiting consistently. She took him to hospital on several occasions, but the sickness would not go away. Hannah says they then sought for both spiritual and herbal means to know the cause of Solomon's condition.
Eddie, bibi I would discover to, and I may be answering her. Me doctors phone edu baby na someone boy me buy on to me in.
It is difficult and everything demands money. If at some point the doctors do not support, my son is not able to get his medication. So because of that, I have to take him back. This sickness is not cured at once. So I plead with government and Ghanaians to support us because we are suffering.
This, Dr. Vivian Pencil says, escalates the condition of such children.
For those who present with lumps, so if they get a lump like a jaw mass or a lump in the leg, with that, they might present a bitterly because immediately they see the lump, they can bring that patient to the hospital. But if you get something like brain tumors, leukemias, that can take a longer time before you can really make the diagnosis. But for childhood cancers, the best thing is for everyone to have an index of suspicion, no matter what that patient presents with. Because if you don't have an index of suspicion, there is a chance that you'll miss it, and then you'll pick it up only when it's late and it has spread to other parts of the body.
Solomon's mother later took him to the Ifia Kwanta Hospital, where they were later referred to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Upon several tests, she was told her son had cancer of the kidney. But how would a mother take such a news?
Doctor ba for tissue na minim no de beye. Te ho na ode na no sha se mo de tissue no ma me.
One of the doctors asked if I could stand the news. He gave me a tissue and said your child is suffering from kidney cancer. So I asked how my son got that sickness because I know cancers are for adults. I wept and they told me everything will be all right.
Cancer. Akola we say be den when ya cancer. Na say cancer.
The cost of care, she says, is unbearable for her. She has to beg or wash clothes just to cater for their basic needs. Hannah is appealing for support as all hope is lost due to lack of financial support.
Kimona ankola ni je ni boarding. Abatan fo so ye ble. Edu baby a memma no mo ba no mo gwenye gyan.
It is difficult and everything demands money. If at some point the doctors do not support, my son is not able to get his medication. So because of that, I have to take him back. This sickness is not cured at once. So I plead with government and Ghanaians to support us because we are suffering.
Ghana for pen for some more and papa, Nicolobufu mammy for ye ble.
As the world marks Cancer Day to raise awareness and take action to reduce the devastating impact that cancer has on people, the plight of mothers like Hannah Kujo must be looked at to better cater for her son. Who knows what Solomon would become in future?
Now, the Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust says all loopholes that foster the misappropriation of funds at the trust have been blocked. Dr. John Ofori-Tenkrane disclosed the new management has instituted a strong internal audit unit with a clear policy guideline to avoid reoccurrence of misappropriation of funds.
Board Chairman of Senate Dr. Kwame Adokufo said the trust will invest in products that will yield good dividends for increased Senate allowances to pensioners. He lauded the contributions of pensioners towards the country's development.
The pensioner and the contributor will be our prime target. We're going to have them, and we haven't failed. We raised pension by 10% this year, by 11%. If that was the case before we came into office, I'm sure when the time comes for people to go on pension, they wouldn't reduce their ages.
Director General of Senate Dr. John Ofori-Tenkrane said the new management has instituted a strong internal audit unit with a clear policy guidelines to avoid the recurrence of misappropriating funds.
The systems that we have, the policies and procedures that we have at Senate are made to work. For example, internal audit. You have to have somebody inside who watches what you're doing. And we've strengthened internal audit. Where there are gray areas, where there is no policy, we've actually come up with clear policy guidelines as to who can do what and when and how. And I think that collectively guides our work to make sure that everybody knows that whatever they are doing, it's not something you do in secret, but we are a public institution and it's open for scrutiny. And I think that we take very seriously.
General Secretary of the National Pensioners Association, Edward Ameyibo, was grateful for the medical support.
Well, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia says government will pursue stronger policies to ensure inclusive economic development. He gave the assurance when a delegation from the International Democratic Union, IDU, called on him in Accra.
The delegation from the International Democratic Union, IDU, is in Ghana for a two-day conference on economic development. The International Democratic Union, IDU, which is a center-right group, has 18 participating countries worldwide. In Africa, it is represented by the Democratic Union of Africa, DUA, with 14 membership countries. The conference will focus on strengthening and improving standards of living among citizens in member states. Secretary General for International Democratic Union, Christine Kartner, called for support to fight anti-democracy in Tanzania.
And these are friends in Tanzania, Chadema. We've seen over the last years blackmailing, assassinations, killings, arbitrary arrests. So these are the things we would like to abandon from the policy world.
Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, who led the delegation, Freddie Blay, spoke about initiatives to promote center rights ideology.
DUA that we want to put up and strengthen so that we can encourage ourselves, stand toe to toe with ourselves, help each other shoulder to shoulder, share ideas, and make sure that what we believe in reigns not only in Africa, but link up with all others who believe same in the world.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, stressed on inclusiveness as a key ingredient for development.
You are talking about inclusive economic development, and that is very consistent with what we want to do, or we collectively share. That if you are focusing on the principles of democracy, freedom, and free market, it's the most important vehicle to include the people in the development space. And if you have more inclusive, more transparent development, then politically you are in a better shape.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, later received a plaque on behalf of the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and also received a book aimed at promoting democracy and transparency in most member countries.
Now, Amnesty International Ghana is urging government to provide a conducive environment for the safety and security of journalists following recent brutalities meted out to some journalists, with the latest being the murder of Tiger Eye PI journalists. The call was made at GJA's Media Security Seminar here in Accra.
The seminar, which focused on safety and security of journalists, assembled experts within the security setup to share their ideas on the subject. Country Director of Amnesty International, Robert Akoto-Amuafo, employed government to show adequate commitment towards the safety of journalists.
Government has to show continuous, unbiased commitment towards ensuring that journalists operate in an environment where rule of law is respected and journalists are not abused or harassed because of their jobs. This will not only be beneficial to journalists, but also to government, as it works towards promoting itself as a human rights abiding government and a government that respects democracy.
Security analyst Emmanuel Sowate advised journalists to make their personal security a topmost priority.
Normally, everybody should have some personal security arrangements, no matter where you work. You have personal security arrangements, different kinds. And so I hear people saying that give me security, me as the individual. But if the person is targeting you and cannot get you, he will go for your children. If you have children, he will go for your spouse. And that is why it is important that even within media houses, you should know, depending on the context and condition, why, under what circumstances, how your media house is seen. That should help you where you park your car. So, for example, if you're going to park your car and you know that in this gathering, I am perceived X, Y, you park your car somewhere.
Veteran journalist and managing editor of the Inside newspaper, Kwesi Pratt Jr., blamed the frequent assault on journalists to politicization of the profession.
Partisan politicization of journalism is a very, very dangerous development. So, amongst us, we see ourselves as NDC journalists and NPP journalists and CPP journalists. It's a most dangerous development. So you have journalists who are ready to condone the harming of other journalists because they do not belong to the same political tradition or did not think together.
He wants the Ghana Journalists Association to focus on its core mandate of protecting the interests of journalists.
We have come together as journalists to form an association for no other reason than to protect our profession and to make our profession grow. That's all. But you see, if you watch sometimes our leaders and so on, extraneous things are now becoming the focus, and I'm very deeply worried. Our association is a secular organization. The things that don't concern us are useless.
Well, let's do some international news now. 7 people have died in a fire at a building in southwestern Paris, the French capital. The fire service is quoted as saying. It says nearly 30 people were injured, at least one person seriously. The toll could still increase because the fire is still in progress on the 7th and 8th floors of the 8th-story building, a fire service spokesman told the AFP news agency. Well, that's it for the news for this morning. My name is Anthony Jackson. New Day returns shortly after this break.
We're doing some raps. When I saw the piano, I thought it was going to be Adamreku's kind of praise and worship. Yeah, then
test on rap. But I mean, that looks like an old video.
Yeah.
And we used to have many of those where it's like they needed the clouds and the whole sky, and it just drew my attention. Who started that and where did they come from? Because really,
I think they influenced Shatawale to go for
like
the balloons.
Like the spirit,
yeah, for the balloons.
Cloud.
Yeah.
The guys,
but back in the day, you know, the videos had to get dancers like the Zibo brothers.
And the one I remember the most is Daddy Lumba's squad. I mean, oh good. Those were, I mean, you had to know how to do that.
Yeah.
You had to know the dances.
And their suits had to be in patches.
But you love,
so there's a little red patch here.
You love the ones you see these days?
Oh, we'll take it like every.
Oh, that's a really nice one.
But now, I mean, they don't do it like they used to, where they're in a formation and they're doing a formation dance. Now, many people don't have dancers per se. They're usually maybe in a club, everyone is doing their own thing, or gringo
I mean, I saw yesterday one from Kiddy that had a choreography, beautiful choreography, but they were not static. Oh no, they were like moving around. The formation was different. The picture quality was sweet as well.
Okay.
Yeah. If you invest money, you will get the best. But if you do matra makwe,
I watched one bit that was not too excited. I mean,
a recent one.
Yeah, I think so. I honestly, I didn't know who was the guy in the video. But
you watched anyway.
Yes, I was seeing two people, a lady and a man, and Charlie.
They were doing things.
Charlie, the lady was virtually naked. I mean, everything was there.
I can only assume what kind of music
he's
talking about. I think we've spoken about
some
it a couple of times.
Short the jeans that goes past that side of the skin. Was not too exciting.
It was not too exciting.
How
it got on TV is another question altogether. Anyway, good morning. It's Tuesday, and welcome. We are fine. Hope you are fine too.
Yeah. We're good. We're good. Tuesdays are Tuesdays.
They are.
Even though
we are fine.
Yes.
We are very fine.
Yes. I mean, you see, gradually we're warming up. You know, January was a very terrible month for everyone. I know.
Excluding me.
But it was.
We understand.
It was not terrible, really.
That's what I was coming to. Where everyone had spoken about January being so long.
No, wait.
Right, I didn't see it.
Wait, it's not about. I don't know if terrible means something else, but it's a month that you've gone into a lot of things before the year ends. Now you're beginning to pick up the pieces to start the new year. So a lot is needed to gather the pieces and take off properly. It is just like an aircraft taxiing to take off. It is not easy. You need to know what to do. In fact, it takes people more than 2 months to be able to settle down after Christmas.
When we look at it,
so it is not only about issues of money.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
A lot goes into it.
Agreed.
What the kids will have to do. Maybe a kid is finished school the previous year, where he or she has to go beginning the new year. You see all those issues. So it's not only about.
But my problem is,
can you achieve better with planning?
You certainly can.
Even that is a problem too, because you're beginning the new year, you need to plan, and even putting together the plan itself it's a difficult task.
That's the truth. But right, I'm just coming from a point where I feel we have thought about January in that particular way, like how we think of Mondays, and it's become a tradition where we see January as a heavy month, is going to be long. You've got so much planning, you've got so much things to do. But can we move some of this planning to maybe even December? Can you forecast, like Johnny is talking about the planning? If we take away some of the little things that make January look heavy, really with time it becomes an ordinary month, like how in February you be planning for March.
Do you know that even some companies struggled to pay the employees in January. Okay, it is not that they don't have money, but it's the beginning of it, and so mobilizing the money.
Sometimes I think, like Amma says, the mindset.
It is.
Sometimes people have it. People have it, but they still will say, "Oh, January the ending."
Just like how now everyone is saying their money is with men's schools.
Yesterday, in UK, the
If
number
they
of
owe
people
you and they tell you that.
in UK, the number of people who called in to say that I am sick, okay, rose because of the month of January. It was so difficult for them.
It's sycamonia.
The paycheck hasn't come, and so the first Monday of February, so many people called in to say, I am not well.
They have sycamonia. You know, the pockets is dry.
Anyway, let's see what we
We're
have.
checking the front pages, and we hope that you're keeping to your New Year resolution if you had any at all. Well, we'll start off with the Ghanaian Times. It says, ex-Maxlock CEO granted 5 million Ghana cedis bail, and media under scrutiny urged to stop misinformation, deliberate lies. That's the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament in your short there, Mr. Joe Sewusu, Joe Weiss, they call him. Government to offer support to 3,000 young entrepreneurs for next 3 years. GJA calls for protection of journalists, and 2 armed robbers jailed 50 years. Interesting. Well, maybe back page. Flying start for satellites. They beat Burkina Faso 2-0 in the under-20 AFCON. Interesting. And water for food production project launched at Fomesa. Yesterday, the boys did us very proud.
Yeah.
But the match was tough. It was hard.
Oh, you watched it?
Yeah, very hard
okay.
match.
I missed it. Right. No, I missed it. I didn't even know.
Did you miss it deliberately?
No, I didn't know. But when they called the first match off, so I think that it escaped
forgot about
me.
Okay, anyway. The custodian. I won't apologize, Mahama tells critics of boot-for-boot dictum. Ex-Maxlock boss on 5 million Ghana cedis bail. And lest we forget, history of by-elections. A quick reminder there. JJ warns 2020 warmongers. And NDC attacks Peace Council chair, clergy as well. Professor Emmanuel Asante there is chairman of the National Peace Council. He's had his own set of fire come at him already. 80%, yes, boss.
Johnny, I'm saying that is true. I'm yet to see anybody who is suggesting that what happened is okay with us. Okay, so if he's asking the former president to apologize, he's only behaving like an elderly man who knows what to say at the right time. Okay, I think that people should stop attacking him for asking. Look, if you're the elderly person at home, and there's fire in the house, you don't go and put more fuel in it. Okay, so
you douse the fire.
You do that. Okay, so people attack him. I think that we should stop.
Anyway, BNFT, 80% of mortgages patronized by resident Ghanaians, and Unibank's liabilities hit 7.2 billion Ghana cedis. CD falls behind emerging market peers, and Ghana Exim Bank to build 100 greenhouses in 2019. Okay, we are hearing you. Finally, the final newspaper, center-right ideology is the best. It unleashes productive capabilities and enhances welfare. Dr. Bawumia, increasing incidence of cancer worrying, according to First Lady. And NDC sets up committee to clean register. Ghana Exim Bank to build 100 agri greenhouses in 2019. And GJA pursues justice for murdered investigative journalists. Those are the front things. Yesterday, I had a call from a gentleman who said, well, some of the papers, that are pro-NDC, we don't review them here. I said, well, we don't get the papers. If you bring us the papers, we will read the headlines to you. So whoever you are, good morning to you. If we get the papers, we'll read them. If you what they bring to us is what they.
If we come every morning and our table is lined up with thousands of papers, we'll make sure we go through every one.
We used to have about 18, 20 papers here.
But I think their timing is also an issue when they get the papers.
If you don't bring it, how do we read it?
Anyway, but I want to touch on the cancer issue because yesterday we did celebrate World Cancer Day, and it's very worrying, the trends and the increasing number, particularly for me, is the pediatric side. The children who come across, these deadly diseases. And for lack of a better thing, I think Ghana is doing well when it comes to pediatric cancer, oncology, and they're doing very well to try and help. But because of the cost of these medications, the fact that most of their treatments are not on national health insurance, many parents allow their children or have to see their children pass away because they cannot afford the treatments. And it's very worrying. If you've worked in the oncology unit for pediatrics, you realize that the doctors are far stretched because they try hard to make sure these children can get medications. We even have times where we're sharing medications between children just to try and do something about it, but you can't. And also, I think education, because it happens mainly in rural areas, at least for the time I worked with oncology unit, what I saw was most of the people who came with it were from rural areas, and I think they don't appreciate what is a cancer or how a child gets a cancer, because we attribute everything to the spiritual part, or when they see something, someone tells them, oh, it's nothing, send it to this herbal person, he would manage it, and then by the time they get to the hospitals, it's too late. So I want to use this platform to appeal to the parents. If you see anything abnormal, if even someone tells you, who's not a doctor, tells you it's nothing, just go that further step, ask a doctor's opinion. If they clear you and they say everything is fine, at least you've done that child some good, rather than wait until you can't do anything about it. And if you can support, if you can donate in cash or kind, make sure you do so to any of the pediatric oncology units in Kolebu or Konfanochi. They're there to support. Let's try and help them.
Very, very solid point to raise that. But I'm thinking also, at the antenatal clinics, are these things shared with them? I mean, if you go to the exotic clinics, you know, Airport Women's or whichever it is, but at our public hospitals, do they share these things with the mothers? You know, I'm concerned about that, because why would a mother see something happening to the child and say, well, Ebeko, you know, it will go? Why?
Johnny, that's where we come back to the woman empowerment,
the factors are many.
Financial, exactly.
Yes,
for me, I think it comes down to, apart from the education, because we do educate them. Of course, I work there and I've heard many times where, but in what we've realized in Ghana is to give information in bits. And so when a mother is pregnant, you don't want to just streamline everything and go all the way to cancer. You want to even start with a small danger signs. So if a mother can even see that her child's eyes are yellow and will bring them to the hospital, gradually would get there. But even with these things, we fail. Mothers will see their children getting yellow. Grandma has said, oh, fine, really? Okay. And for 1 week, the child comes and is now stiff, can't do anything for themselves, and is literally going to pass away. And so these are some of the issues we have. And then there's a mother who has seen but doesn't have the money to bring that child to the hospital.
Yeah, that's another huge
and that is where I have a problem. When we talk about women empowerment, this is what I'm looking at. You have given her the education only to a point, but now she can't even have any money to bring herself or her child to the hospital.
It takes me back to our conversation that we've been having here, the point that I've been raising about social protection.
Yeah.
What is our social protection standpoint? And by this, if you give me a chance, I'll put a chronology to our ministry. We used to have Ministry of Women and Children. Then it became Gender and Children Social Protection. Then we had DOFSU, then WAJU, then it became DOFSU. Now, largely it's being in favor of women. But even that, how much of it
are we seeing
in terms of our social policy? You have a mother who contributes to Social Security and National Insurance Trust. But when the mother is in a fix, while she's still a contributor for over 10 years, she can't get money to solve her problems. And we all know what the problems of the National Health Insurance Scheme are. Yesterday, there was a boy who lived next door to me. He got ill. They rushed the boy to the Kanishi Polyclinic. He had an NHIS, but then when they were going to put him, the mother looks at it and says, look, my child cannot be here. So then the father says, okay, is there another ward? They said, well, 70 Ghana. Then he pays for it.
She didn't like the ward.
Because it's too crowded. Everybody, the people there, everybody is crowded. Now, if the child has a communicable disease, or it doesn't even have a communicable disease, at the time when the child is ill, it becomes susceptible to, you are the doctor. So then, in that crowded environment, he could be curing one thing, but he could be taking another package home.
That is true. I mean, that is across
you cure another thing, and you take a package home.
Amma's point about, women getting their kids to the health facility. I mean, sometimes, look, society has made it such that, I mean, these women are compelled to behave the way they do. The journey from her home to the nearest facility is about 30 minutes if you have a vehicle. Okay.
Without she doesn't have a car, by the way.
Yes. Okay. And if she has to walk, it takes her about an hour to do that. And so sometimes they are compelled to, when the child, there is something, then they are compelled to resort to all kinds of means to get them. And so, for me, getting the facilities closer to the people is key.
It is.
Okay. Other than that, these are rural women who see a child, a boy somewhere, and you just go and pluck some leaves
and then start treating at home.
And that's it.
And it gets worse. Look, and you see, they look at their bread and butter issues first. if I have not had food to eat, maybe she has 4 children, plus a husband, plus herself, plus a relative who is living, plus maybe the mother who has come to join us. So like about 6 or 7 people. And she's taking care of these ones with a little support from the husband. And then you say, well, she should take the small money she has to go and treat her.
Transport.
She won't do it.
The nearest facility.
It's not realistic. Yeah. So our social protection, and you see, this even in Accra, we struggle. Even in Takrady, we struggle. Kumasi, Tamale, we struggle. So go beyond the urban areas and get into the rural areas. People suffer. Yeah. And we all, brush over it. The other time I was in a meeting with the Ghana Health Service, and I said, look, we're talking about nurturing care and how to stimulate their children's minds. But we are all pretending that in the primary schools, and in fact, the nursery and kindergarten, most of the people who give care there and educate the children are not even trained teachers. In the nursery and the kindergarten, most people who give training, they're just there to bath for the children, give them food, sing for them, and put them to sleep. That's all. But that's the formative year of the child, when the child needs all the knowledge they can get to stimulate their brain, to make it grow proper. So, we lose the foundation. We do. And then when we get into primary school and SHS, we polish on that. And then we are wondering why the children don't have a reading culture. We're wondering why their IQs are low. We're wondering why things are going the way they are going. We need to start from the very scratch.
And on that note, I hope people will actually donate. Like we can't always rely on government for all these things at this point. I pray that people would donate.
Why don't we have childhood cancers, for example, on the NHIS?
Some are, just a few things are catered
Yes, but
for.
we know that this is prevalent, and children are losing their lives because of that.
And their future.
So why can't we have it on the NHIS if it becomes important to us? Okay. If we consider it as important, we say the children are the future.
Anyway, guys, in other news, US, has issued some visa sanctions on Ghana, and there's been a back and forth. And some Ghanaians are of the view that, well, if US takes these visa, privileges away, we don't stand to lose anything. But as to whether that is really true, let's find out. Let's step out and run.
It will affect the big people. Yeah.
It will affect everybody, whether we like it or not.
It will affect the big people more.
They stand to lose, but I think we stand to lose more.
When they get that brown passports, they travel rough.
By hearts.
Yeah, by hearts.
Anyway, but let's step out. For it. Let's step out and rant with you and take your thoughts on that. This is what it
feels like. The U.S. Embassy in Ghana on February 4 began its sanctions on new visas for all domestic employees of Ghanaian diplomats hosted in the United States of America. Now, the embassy also limited the normal 5 years validity period and a number of entries on tourist and business visas for all Ghanaian executive and legislative branch employees, their spouses and children under the age of 21. To single entry visas for only 1 month. What this means is that from February 4, every Ghanaian who is traveling to the United States of America, apart from those that are on scholarships, will have only 1 entry and a maximum of 1 month stay in the United States of America. So this morning on Daily Runs, we ask whether citizens must bear the brunt of the United States of America. Gentlemen, let's rant.
Okay, first of all, I think America is a sovereign nation. Okay. They have every right to determine who gets into their country and who doesn't. Okay, they have every right to determine that for the sake of their national security. So if they are telling the Ghana government to provide traveling documents for Ghanaians, alleged Ghanaians who are in the U.S. and are facing deportation, and then Ghana doesn't want to provide those documents.
Now, before you proceed, they are not alleged Ghanaians. They are actually Ghanaians who have been identified as Ghanaians by the U.S. government in the United States of America.
I said alleged because I read a report, and then the foreign minister, Shalia Yokobocho, was saying they have problem identifying some of the people. She's trying to say that some of them are not Ghanaians, so that's why I use alleged. Okay. But whether they are Ghanaians or not, the problem is that if you fail to provide the necessary document to bring those people home, it is clear and simple. They said, provide documents or we start giving you visa restrictions. And the longer we drag this thing, the more it affects Ghanaians, because there are a lot of people who have a lot of businesses doing in the USA. And so I think it's up to the government to do something and help US.
And must the government wait till now? Because the first warning came 2 years ago, and today we have been given some sanctions when it comes to visa issuance.
To me, I say maybe it's the fault of the government, and US for my letter for 2 years and 3 years. So I say, government no money na kombe but share economy no. That's the only issue. So I say, economy no. Young say woman po yebre. No sanso kofo bi muso emeka almost 7,000 almost 8,000 sanso bra.
Say wo economy wo bra ntina say wo nkofo wo baby na say wo mo pepa nye nti yemra say yenje om.
Say yan nkofo no baby na so mo pepa nya. Omro mo do mo ko ye. So I say, nti akwa mo fa so ba mo fa sa akwa na so bra. Ba say yenji yanka say tax musika from ombra enye possible. Because mo bobra mo busa for mo bobra ne maye Ghana for and I citizen for.
International law so chere say e was say yen na yen providing near maybe. And enye den and so mo aba. Na age om officially. Enti no law mo no we are obliged to do it.
Oh, one thing about traveling say won. Ya Ghana for crop for no so mutu kwan won. Omo for the right channel amodoko. So I say inside sometimes any problem e dey on my no. Because obi ukwa maybe obefa Libya or other America. So I say, because I say passport when odoko America. So passport or fa odoko America. So I say, but nipa na to matana sa bobra nya sika da hwe ne busa for. Na ye tax kana ye de go money say na enye o. So I say any de enye.
Na just say tax in internet ka won kwa ne ankomo nka ho.
Okay. The issue is not whether Ghana is going to use taxpayers' money to bring those people back. It is simple. All they have to do is provide traveling documents. Yeah. Give it to the.
As Ghana want to provide documents now, but Ghana phone penny for more say yampoa ye wahampo ye bre na omo so mo ho eboa.
Are you speaking from facts or wadwin no
fact that be fact na make no. So I say because one where penny bi anu a obeka say okofa mo aba because oba o man mo yedin. So I say na mo twetwen so a de buy no. So I say because we so aba no obeka kaka ansa na o de wan aba but say na de na koye no. But
don't you think that we are faced with this visa sanctions as Ghanaians because most at times our legislature drags its feet on national issues? It's been the concerns of Ghanaians over these years. Are we supposed to be those to bear this brunt?
No. The thing is, we need to take national issues as national issues. When it happened, there are warnings that came back as far as 2016, and then it was circulating in the media that those people who started coming during the past administration, that Mahama signed document, and then some people came, and then based on that, some people voted along a certain line. So I think if this government is scared to do the right thing just because they want to keep power, I mean, it wouldn't make sense because Ghana is a developing nation, and we depend so much on the USA and other international countries for a lot of things. They give us aids and they help us in do a lot of things. So if you are going to tarnish your image, a bilateral relation with US, you should think of the bigger picture. This is what the US does for Ghana.
Yeah, because today we are all going to suffer. I think this issue, the only people that those sanctions do not affect are those that are on scholarships. Yeah. But any other Ghanaian citizen, non-immigrants and all that, you are going to go through this whole issue. We are not going to get a usual 5 years visas that we used to have. Now the maximum is going to be 1 month, and we're actually going to have one entry. What it means is that if I go there, if I have 1 month visa, and I go and I don't stay up to 1 month, I decide to come, I can't go back again. Now that is how bad the situation is. I ask again, do you think that Parliament or our leaders are not doing something right in this country?
Yeah, they are not doing it right, because if they had heed the advice of the Americans long ago, I don't think we would have gotten here. It's simple. provide us the document. We bring them, and then you will still enjoy your 5 years visa, multiple entry. It's simple. We shouldn't look at these 700 people, like I said, and then let
the madam for no can on metenasio un say o ka say o say odomoba on ono nte abamu na ko te abamu a ko be hun say 7,000 naira no, it will bring a problem. So I say one can say one accommodation yan say. So I say
na say 7,000 now say ka accommodation sananka no mo namo street so no mo koyo ebi mu titifie pa e na mo de koy enti mo bo menya bebi ada
nanka hani ye mo mo na ko mo nko. So that say oh na ka hani ye mo mo na ko mo nko. Do me say sanction na mo da ba no e be affect because any to say ko America. So I say e be affect here. So I say e be affect here. But problem nanka sanction won e company for no say ye niam enko ene mo ye since say ye betina se na company for na call 1 month mo enjoy but mo ba so a e be den amaye nti company for no mo nkotena se no mo nka say oh say mo ba say a e problem be maye nti say dem document mo pen ye be there ye be provide am mo nya botre kakra e da maye but some be ba there
say see no assembly siwie no yes parliament attorneys omon safre foreign minister some parliament na womu misambisa say enti adenti na wose ye ntena say adenti na womra ye didi kan massa won in 2016 no ye yan frɛ maame no mana mambe kasa na ye ni akire na ya twan ma dia to ye abeto ye wie ansana
me no we ka say 2016 mama de bi bae or de bi bae no bebe tutia no onimsa sometimes omo hwɛ negative and positive. So I say Ghana for no mentality be say why you we no and me the way better be chawka but onim say oh boy nipa kono sunsum. So that say nti ono kwabra no nya o de beba o but o hwe a o de ba we mame we fie obeka say hey men two way menyesi nti no person obe no onya obe take action. So I say
you see he said something and then I'm inclined to agree with him because most of these people immigrated or traveled to the US for better lives. Yeah, sure. No two ways. They traveled for a better life. So this comes back to our leaders. If they were running this country the way they are supposed to, because we have all the necessary ingredients to make this country good. So if they were running this country the way they are supposed to, I don't think Asumesi or Benten would like to travel to America in the cold winter to go and work if they were enjoying this country. But then again, you can't say the economy is not good, so the government shouldn't bring back these people, or you just can't say that. These people were working. Some of them were working. They have a lot of properties before they left, and then they went.
But I wanted to go. So I say I'm even working, but I wanted to go. So will you say I don't mean baby and I mean good salary. So I'm your boss and Korashe Masi. And so I can say.
So best friend person go America and then you asking America not to bring these people. You are not helping your best
Okay, friend. So then your best friend will have to wait in the near future because as it stands, the longest day he can get is 1 month. And obviously he's going to get only one entry. This has been Daily Rant. My name is Zubaida Ismail.
Welcome back and good morning to you out there once again. The newspapers are ready and Daily Graphic, the Ghanaian Times, the Finder, the Custodian, the Business and Financial Times and the Daily Guide. All of them have exciting stories this morning. We'll take a look at some of them. The issue with Ayawaso West Wogon still big on some of the newspapers, caused by civil society and other groups to get perpetrators brought to book and several appeals for calm ahead of 2020. We'll take a look at them. My guest this morning is the Chief Executive Officer of Maslock. Stephen Amoa is here. Good morning.
Good morning.
And hope you're doing great.
By the grace of God, I'm not doing bad.
Thanks for joining us. We're still waiting for the Member of Parliament.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. For Tamale North, Alhaji Suhini, to be with us. But we started a conversation this morning. If you take a look at the Ghanaian Times, it has a story. The Presby Church, on page 17, the Presby Church has been talking about what happened at Ayawaso West, Wagon constituency. And it talks about the fact that the church is not too excited about what happened there, and is therefore, as a matter of urgency, calling on security agencies to investigate the incident and make their findings public for everybody to know what actually transpired on the day and all those found to have taken part in the violence dealt with according to the laws of the land. That's the Presby Church statement. It said the church, as one of the biggest denominations in the country, would not sit unconcerned and not comment on such an unfortunate situation. We are therefore adding our voice to the number of condemnations from institutions and individuals. The Presby Church statement, signed on behalf of the moderator, Right Reverend Professor Joseph Obri Yabuamante, said if the matter was not investigated and suspects brought to book, these violent attacks during by-elections in Ghana would be replicated one day during general elections. We as a church believe that the 2020 general elections is less than 24 months away, and if such violence was left uninvestigated and alleged perpetrators escape justice, such acts of indiscipline will serve as a license for those who have the intent of institutionalizing violence in Ghana's electoral and democratic processes. The church said it was one of the belief that reports of incidents of violence with sporadic firing of gunshots and attacks with machetes during the conduct of the polls, resulting in the hospitalization of victims and destruction of vehicles, was unacceptable and raises concerns about the ease and impunity with which violence is unleashed during elections in Ghana. That's the Presby Church there. If you take a look at that same paper, Mr. Rawlings has also been talking about it, and he is cautioning those who want to use violence, particularly political parties. And he says in the story that the former president noted that very little attempt was being made to prevent violence by agents of the leading political forces within the country. That's the former president talking there. And a lot of civil society groups, several of them, have also condemned the act. My next guest has joined us, Member of Parliament for the Tamale North constituency. He's a member of the NDC, Honorable Alhaji Suhini here. Good morning.
Good morning, boss.
And I hope you're doing great.
By His grace, I'm well. I hope you are too.
I'm good too. Thanks for joining us. Let's start our conversation. Stephen, the issue has now gone to deal with our investigative bodies. The appeals are many from every quarter, civil society groups. How do we handle it?
In the first place, I would like to extend my regards to Ghanaians. And secondly, anybody that go in jail during the exercise. I would say that, it's part of all contributing our quota to developing our society for tomorrow. It's not something palatable. Whether the person is NDC, MP, PC, PP, non-partisan, human lives are extremely valuable, and that we have to condemn it, whether party A or B or C cause it. But for you to ask how this can be stopped, I think is the most sensible question or issue that anybody in our country should raise, because it's been going on for far too long. It didn't start today. In fact, political violence has a history.
Right.
Do you know how the knife called in among the accounts, Bafo? Have you heard that before?
Right.
The one that you opened. Exactly. You know how the name was given to it? Under is the first president, Kwame Nkrumah, when they were having Matemeho and UP, there were two gentlemen, Bafo and then Chumesi, and one of them defected from CPP to UP,
And the other one, in fact, they attacked him, just the same political violence. And the knife that was used to kill the guy was named Bafo. In fact, I can't really get all my historical records, whether it was Bafo that was stabbed or it was Chumesi. But the stabbing prevailed between Bafo and Chumesi. So when you're talking about political violence, it started way before. Matimehon, UP, those stuff, CPP, UP, down through PNDC, NDC, MPP, back to NDC, and back to, it's been there. In fact, on my phone here, if you like, I'll show to you. If I tell you the brutalities, it's not what you're talking about here, was what happened in Brahafo. Then we had former Minister Ernesto Puku. I have all the pictures here. These are pictorial evidence. And you remember the famous Etiwa by-elections. So it's been something that has been going on for so many years. In fact, CPP time, I hadn't been born, he hadn't been born, my brother hadn't been born. Whether it started that year or this year, it's something that all of us must condemn and make effort to making sure that this thing is eradicated from our society. Right. It can happen only when first two accused institutions, MPP, NDC, will be honest enough, honest, godly honest, righteously honest, truly honest, when they are left with God. Not this public talk that we do propaganda and lie with it. When they are left in their closet alone with God, they will mean what they say publicly, that we want to get this thing, this animal thing from our society, because it is dysfunctional to the performance of our republic. So MPP, NDC, leadership, activists, party leaders, and other stakeholders within these organizations should come together. We should come together, have a common document that will ensure that these are the ways we want to go. And if any of our guys initiate such, I would term it as some antisocial behavior or aberrant behavior, this person will be dealt with by the law. It doesn't matter whether you're in government or in opposition.
You're talking about documents.
That is first one. Sorry?
You're talking about document to deal with this?
Yes, the two parties should come together. In fact,
you don't think that our constitution frowns on that, and so we don't need another document?
No, not document like legal thing. I mean, two parties have the right, not necessarily even writing or whatever, but at least some sort of agreement or resolution or communique. And that will be something that will be used to warn our followers. So you to understand that, hey, if you are in Honorable Suhini's party, Stephen Amwa's party, this is what all we have resolved. If you go and do this and you are arrested, I won't even come to bail you. That is first thing. Two, the media. They have to also play truly neutral role. Because when these things happen, you realize that those who like MPP and DC, their comments are different. So you don't even get a true story or information for you to make the right decision, whether being a judge, a policeman, or just a normal citizen or whatever. It doesn't happen. The pastors and the chief imam, because most of these guys or players, they go to the mosque or church, and they know them. We know them. Who says they don't know these guys? What message are they putting across? The police. Me, I'm one person. I think IGP, in my opinion, shouldn't be appointed. This is not MPP view. It's my personal view. Because whether you like it or not, and the MPP and the NDC, if I have appointed honorable and my relative is arrested for putting up antisocial behavior, and I call honorable, what will happen? And Brad, do you know what pains me a lot? I just returned from Australia, I think 2-3 days ago. And when the plane came down, me anytime I travel, I've stopped using domestic flight unless maybe I have no other option because I get a bit scared anyway. But those days, probably I used to travel Kumasi, Accra, probably sometimes by air. and it gets down, I get so sad. Do you know why? You travel to all countries, including even African countries. Go to Botswana, Gaborone and Co. How they are building their cities. You are joking in Ghana as a people. This is not about leadership, it's not about MPP and this. I'm talking about us. And when
you do not think it is leadership?
I'm coming.
Not necessarily of
Papa,
the NDs.
Papa,
MPP,
the problem
NDs,
is us. It's us, all of us. This thing you're talking about leadership, maybe you should give us another time to talk about it. If it's under democratic dispensation, it's extremely difficult for any leader. I'm telling you, whether former President Mahama or city president, but the point I'm making is that when you get down close to the grounds, Accra here, about 90% just by observation, you see only dust. Accra is like a village. I'm not joking. If you like, just try this. Pay money, get that photograph when you're landing in Accra or Kumasi. Even Accra, then Kumasi there is worse. Our roads, about 90%, just by observation from that height, they are not tarred. Gutters in our cities are not tarred. You still have increasingly barefooted case on our road between Adenta and Ridge. Some of us get emotional. And yet you get people like our type, educated, learned, with all respect to my colleagues. We go to church and the mosque. When I say this, I'm not an angel. I make mistakes, I sin. You know, I've worked with you before. Sometimes I make mistakes. You understand what I'm saying? But it pains me that we go to all these places, lift our hands on Sundays and Fridays, we bow down to Allah and God. And then we hide behind these things, or we actively play roles. Some of them, they interface. You see them. That your other brother should be stabbed, shot, killed. I mean, why? Is it Ghana we are because I was thinking
if the states want to punish those who do this, you think won't get
that's what I'm saying, that if the state, why not? But the state that will punish, the police that will be in charge, they will definitely sing either MPP or NDC song. That's what we need to talk to them. I think it is time we redefined our corporate focus and realign our mindset. You can have differences in ideologies. You can have differences in the way you want to build this country. But I think we need to align our mindset to making sure that we change this country, because, Bright, it is too much. Ghana, we have everything on earth not to even experience unemployment.
Except leadership.
Look, we have leadership. We don't have leadership. We have leadership. Even TV3, we have leadership. It goes up. We have president. We have vice. NDC, they have leadership. MPP, we have leadership. But do you know something? People don't sit down to critically analyze our situation, what we are doing to ourselves. Look at what Americans are saying to us. Because, yes, it said, Obi who are dancing or raw kawa, then countries such as Ghana, that we have forest, semi-forest, savanna, semi-savanna, we have coastal belt. Each of these segments, we have wide range. We have wide range of precious minerals, wide range of fruits and suckers and tubers. We have salt, we have gold, we have everything. We are highly learned. Don't make mistake. Put aside high rate of illiteracy. The skill component of our labor force that is needed to ensure productivity and develop every country to attain long-term economic growth and stability. Good doctors, good nurses, good teachers, good engineers. I mean, sometimes politically we all make mistakes and make comments. Whether CPP, NDC, PPP, whether nurse, we have all these things. Yet even wood product, this thing, that it doesn't require complex value chain to process. We import them. And this has created unemployment. This has just destroyed our city and everything. And it is not a year problem. It is about a century's problem after colonial masters had to be given the exit. What are we doing as young people? Are we using our energies to destroy other people, destroying properties and assets, and taking our country back? Please, I think enough is enough. We should be honest to God and man, and MPP, NDC, and CPP, and whatever, and the media. We should stop this. It doesn't make sense.
I'm grateful, Stephen Amoah. So his point is that the two parties are the major characters in this. What President Rawlings says that there is very little attempt being made by leading political forces in the country to deal with this problem. How do we deal with this problem?
Well, right. Permit me to extend my greetings also to our viewers, especially my constituents in Tamale North, my mothers and sisters especially. Thank you for the opportunity once again to be here. I am of the opinion that as a country we have been playing with fire for a very long time now. And the earlier we woke up to the reality of how we can get burnt by that fire, the better for all of us. For a very long time now, and if you want to even narrow it down, you can say in the last 4 years, we notice something new in our politics. Many, spoke about it, some faintly, others forcefully. And it had to do with the, recruitment and training and formation of political forces. I mean, yes, in the past we have had political violence from the days of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. We have, had people engage in active politics going at each other violently. But we have not had a situation like we started having in the last 4 years, where a political party recruits people, train them, and sometimes not give them local training, but actually import foreigners to train them and to formalize them.
So in the past, there were individuals doing...
That's what I'm saying. I mean, we had those things where maybe there is an internal party politics, people support one candidate over the other, they get to the ground, they go at each other. Or maybe there's a by-election, people are so enthusiastic about their party winning, they go at each other. We have had those things, but we have not had the formalization until the last 4 years, where they are recruited and trained by international experts. We all were in this country. But in all those periods, especially the last 4 years, we kept playing with it. We just thought that, it was NDC MPP politics as usual. It's NDC politics. Leave them, they are at each other again. But you see, right, when you hear in the news about government rebel forces against opposition rebel forces from other countries, our attitudes over the years, God forbid, is bringing that news close to us every day. Because we have been hearing it in international news. Government rebel forces versus opposition rebel forces. And we think it is so remote from us. But I am saying that this latest development, right, which started, and I insist, in the last 4 years.
Right. I hope I'll be giving
is something.
You got a chance to react.
Is something, right, that we should not play with and generalize and continue to say, this country, we can develop it. And then speak, let's see the problem as it is and deal with it. And all the beautiful things my brother says about this country will be realized. Let's not generalize the problem. It is specific. If we had the time then, or if we had been, wide awake then, to condemn it, criticize it, and stop it, maybe we wouldn't have had it today. But even today, if we are not bold enough to face it and say, this is it, and it must stop and end, we are going to have that general talk, like my brother started with, and the problem beneath will keep growing until, it consumes all of us.
So for you do not think it is an NDC MPP thing?
I'm saying that generally, we have had an NDC MPP thing over the years. But a new law emerged when we had the MPP recruit and import foreigners to train and justify the formation of forces across their country, and even after winning government, justify the existence of those forces and the continuous training of those forces. I'm saying that is the specific problem that we are faced with today, which we must deal with. And Bright, that specific problem that we are shying away has led to another low in the history of political violence. And that low is the fact that in the Ayawaso Wars Wagon issue, we are not talking about a vigilante group. We are actually talking about thugs having access to security vehicles and maybe weapons of the state to intimidate citizens. That is a new law. Because we are now being told, we are not, yeah, we are
when
not.
The National Security Minister says that they are not thugs, but they belong to national security.
The police service says they don't know them. The military obviously will not know them. The national security officer has not disclosed their identity yet to us. And that is why maybe I should chip in at this point, that later this morning, minority members of parliament will be marching to the police headquarters. And we will do that until we identify those thugs, because we believe they are thugs. And that's a new law, right? You see, if we continue to generalize it, it is going to encourage future governments that may not be MPP to also use the same strategy. It is going to encourage them to also use the same strategy. That's why I'm saying the problem is specific. The formation of forces across the country, which maybe has led to a situation where those forces are no longer even just political forces, but have the access to state security vehicles, and only God knows which other security areas they had access to. Because you see, if some of the weapons were taken from the armory of the state, they would have gone through certain processes to get those ammunitions, and they may now know how our security services work when they are not security men. Only God knows what they will use that knowledge and experience and training they have had to do when their government is no longer in power, and they will not have that access to this state, security apparatus. So, Bright, admire the lofty speech of how we can all make Ghana better. But they tell us that when a fish is going to get rotten, it starts from the head. And that is why Ghanaians every 4 years queue to choose the leadership that will work for them. And that is why politicians campaign to be elected. And that is why in their manifestos they assure the people of their security and safety. And here I refer to chapter 14 of the NPP manifesto, where President Akufo-Addo and his party assured all of us that if they got the mandate, they were going to ensure that people were safe on the streets and in their homes. So when you make a request of the president, now that he has the mandate to walk his talk, it is not doing politics. It is what he said he will do.
Okay, get ready to wrap up for me.
So, you see, right, we love this country. I have said it on other platforms that NDC, NPP, we all love this country. We want it to progress. We want it to, develop. But we need to call a spade, especially when we have to resolve some of the issues that threaten the progress that we all seek. And I'm saying that our politics have not always been without violence. But the new levels and sophistication that we are seeing should be specifically identified as what it is and seen for the threat that it, possesses. And I'm saying, right, when you hear in the international news, and I'm wrapping up, that government rebel forces versus opposition rebel forces in other countries, our silence, our inaction, our accommodation of what is happening now is what usually, leads to those news reports. And God forbid, may it not get to this country. But God forbid is not enough. We need to speak out. We need to say it as it is. And my last comment, and I'm sad about it, right? That maybe apart from Kodio, Shraj, the UNDP, and I just saw the Ghana Bar Association and others.
The
right.
churches.
I am scandalized that the two institutions that are expected to be leading the charge in resolving this matter and giving all of us assurance doesn't seem to think it is that dire. And I'm talking about the presidency and the Electoral Commission. They are the two institutions that I haven't heard with the seriousness that one would have expected.
You think that
and the assurance...
The president condemnation isn't enough?
Right. Read what the president said.
He has ended.
Read it. Read it.
I'll come to you.
I'm saying that, it's as if it's business as usual. Like the things that we have seen in the past. And I'm saying this is new. And this is a new law.
Okay.
And the Electoral Commissioner is even worse. The president's appointee, her conduct and her staff is even worse.
All right.
It doesn't give assurance that we know what is at stake. And we appreciate the threat to the peace. And Ghana has all the things that my brother speaks about. But, right, the most important commodity we have in this country that continue to attract people is the peace that we have. And we must never joke with it.
I'm grateful. Stephen, let me take a quick break. When I come back, get you the chance to react to the issues that he raised. Stay with us. We'll be back in a minute.
Madam, I did that of phone man.
Baby, send me data sisu.
Yeah, my fairy crime.
Oh, bra.
The name is data. A bra Vodafone H free data. We call 1 minute be out. 10 MB free.
Call Vodafone or any network and get 10 megabytes of free data every minute you talk. Dial 5050 to subscribe.
Yeah, me switch up Vodafone in me.
Ma.
Yes.
I'm going to the bank to deposit some money. I'll be back soon.
Hey, Kofi, walk away. With all that has been going on, you still want to go and deposit your money at the bank? Kofi,
You don't have to worry. I keep all my money at the bank and it's safe.
Really?
Yes. The Bank of Ghana has taken some bold actions to protect our monies. And they have also introduced a lot of reforms to strengthen our banks.
Sir?
These will ensure that banks have more capital to do their business and are better governed and managed so that they can protect the money that we entrust to them. These banks will provide better services and support more businesses and the economy as a whole.
Wow, Kofi, that's very good. We should continue to keep our money in the bank and not take them to unlicensed institutions that promises the moon, yet run away with our money. Go and deposit your money at the bank, Kofi, and come back quickly for your punching cracker. Yes.
I'll be back.
Bank of Ghana, promoting a safer and resilient banking system.
Love brings out the best in people. And sometimes the worst. What are you willing to do in the name of love? Will you do the wrong thing for the right reason? A drama about the naked truth on love.
I sponsor your scholarship because I want to get the best people for my company.
What's your business here anyway?
She's my new secretary.
I'm Jenna, Tristan's wife.
Ex-wife. I had the good sense to ask Ariane to marry me, and she said yes. would like to introduce to you to Mr. Waldo Del Mar. Waldo, meet the real boss.
Pleasure to meet you.
I Will Never Say Goodbye, premiering on Tuesday, 5th February at 6 p.m. only on TV3.
How good is your acting? Are you the next big star waiting to be discovered? This could be your opportunity to show the world what you've got. Get your forms now at 3news.com and submit your completed copy at the phone desk of TV3. Now your dreams can become reality. Get your forms and get into character. The next top actor is open to anyone, anywhere in Ghana.
Auditions are on the 22nd and 23rd of February. Terms and conditions apply.
Ghana. 100 students from 20 schools battle it out for glory at the junior and senior levels in Season 2 of the all-round academic competition, The Sharks. Watch as students exhibit their smarts on core competencies: literacy.
A fish rots
from the head
down the square for 10 points.
Numeracy, STEM, and social literacy. It's fun, it's educative, and it's exciting. The Sharks 2.0 is endorsed by the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences and the Ghana Education Service. The Sharks, coming soon on TV3.
A year ago, his bride disappeared on their wedding day, leaving him miserable.
Well, what's wrong? I'm sorry, Grandma, but I'm not getting married. You're absolutely crazy!
Now, he's stuck between two women having the same name, the pretty Oh Ha Young and the just Oh Ha Young.
I'm doing my best because my name will appear on the screen. Please do not produce this kind of movie anymore.
One of these days, you're going to end up killing someone with the way you talk. I counted how many times you gave me a hard time because I called off my wedding. It's 9 times.
You are just a crazy little witch. Stop laughing!
Another Miss O, Monday to Friday, 5:30 p.m. on TV3.
The biggest news you missed yesterday and the latest news of today. Presented live in 60 minutes. Midday Live. Every day at 12.
All right, thanks for staying there for us. Now, let's get Stephen Dama to react. Stephen, so here in his agreement is that indeed political thuggery started maybe under our first president, but he's talking about how it has now been upgraded to the formation of groups. Okay. And that is his worry.
Not just groups. Boss. Forces.
Okay, forces. Yeah.
Right. I'm sure you are a Ghanaian like me. We've been living in Ghana. Have you ever heard about Azuka Boys?
Right.
Thank you. Was it formed during these 4 years?
No, it was not.
And these are always the reasons I'm saying that. The NDC, the only thing they know is about lies. And you know, most Ghanaians that are honest to God and man have realized that NDC can never be the alternative. Because the way I spoke, I'm expecting my honorable brother to see that, of course, there could be past issues. We all went wrong and right. We want to have a new wave, a new redefinition. But they will never change. NDC never. They will keep on going. Look,
you do not think that
let me ask
this problem has been
alleviated? Let me tell you something. For the sake of the families, and even the names, I don't think I can get them correct, so I don't want to lie on TV. But I'll look for the information and give you. way before. I don't know whether even my brother had been born or his age. NPP tax in parts of the north. Some, at least one of them that I'm 100% sure I know, I'll tell you the name and find out from the family, was actually tied to a tree among sheep and was killed in the night. This is a fact. I'll check you the names and let you have it.
Which town?
I'm saying, I'll check the details. It's not good because, ethically, I'm coming. Okay. I'm coming. Let me finish. Oh, can I finish?
I'm from the north.
Just last year, one of the NDC young aspirants, for security reasons, I'll mention his name because it's not ethical, paraded the so-called hawk boys, or say hawkers, NDC hawks. We also on social media everywhere threatening any election in Ghana, MPP, and these were well-built guys. Is it not even our just immediate past president who said that NDC, when it comes to violence, they are more violent than MPP? This was an emphatic statement. I am so surprised that he is saying that, military, and then didn't even know. Let me ask you, practically, do you want to tell me that the military and the police, they know all those guys in national security? How can you say this? How? This is, I think, to me.
Are you not?
I'm coming.
Are you not playing down the issue?
No,
this was.
But that's what he said. No,
this was an operation.
That is what
so
he.
They
he played it down, trying to deceive Ghanaians that the police say they don't know them, the army say they don't know them. I'm saying
the
that.
Said themselves that they don't know them.
But let me ask you. Tell me under any regime that the police can say that they know all national security guys. Even among why won't you let me talk? Right.
This is an operation.
This is not fair. When he was talking, you allow him to talk.
No,
please.
Stephen,
can I talk?
Stephen,
if you let me talk, then me and you argue. No,
Stephen,
no.
I am in charge.
You are in charge, but you allow him to talk.
No, listen.
No, I will not listen. I will not.
We are reacting to his comments.
No, but if you let me come,
my job is to ask you questions.
So did you ask him questions?
No.
Did you ask him?
Mr. Stephen Amwa, Mr. Stephen Amwa, I said the rules here.
You feel like
Mr.
But let the rules be fair. You can't do this.
So listen to me.
You do this every time.
So listen to me.
No, I will
Mr.
not.
Stephen Amwa.
I will not listen. If you like, walk me out.
Mr. Stephen Amwa.
I will not listen.
Okay, let's take a quick break.
Please.
We'll come back.
Why do you do this? You allow to speak. You never ask. When he said, did you ask him that they didn't form any class?
All right, thanks for staying there. We're back. Mr. Nvama, you were making a point, and the argument that indeed we had recorded these things, but it had been elevated. That's where we left off.
So, Bright, what I was saying is that I was surprised. Look, first time foreigners were brought into this country to train political tax were years far before recently. In fact, in Upper East, they brought people from Cuba under NDC. I'm not saying they are wrong or right. That is why I was condemning the entire act. Just look, was it 5th September 2018, just about a few months back, the General Secretary, the head of administration of the NDC, came out and said he had officially endorsed the hawkers or the hawks of the NDC publicly. It was the news. Well, it was something. It wasn't something like somebody wrote about. He said it, and we all saw it pictorially. So what I'm telling my brother is that he has to stop this thing and let people like us. He's a highly respected. I respect him as a brother. He's very intelligent. For that, no two ways about that. And I think I'm also quite okay. I'm not bad. Our levels, let us accept that these things are wrong and find solution to it rather than still politicizing it because we don't solve the problems.
Is that not what he's saying? That he thinks that instead of generalizing the whole thing, we must fix the problem. And he talks about the formation of these things.
Formation, because he points fingers. People are watching us. Did I generalize it? I even went to the extent of naming stakeholder institutions, how we should reposition ourselves and help solve these problems. That you talk about generalization when he is pointing fingers. Look, NDC, I've been doing politics a little over 20 years. In the year 2000, I was in Upper East. I stopped school first year. In fact, I was living with Abedi Pele's in-law. She stood for Talensi. In Benabe, is a place called Benabe or Banaba. Talensi and Co. Brian. NDC tax were shooting. That was the first time I realized that if bullet gets close to you, you feel like you are shot first 2 seconds.
Are you also worried that
what I'm saying is that
these tax now have access to state facilities?
NDC chairman was holding illegally AK-47 in his car. You know the story. Immediate NDC chairman. Look, I don't want to name them. Look, the BA pictures. Okay. The BA pictures I have, I'll send to your phone if you like show to Ghanaians. And even one of the murderers of Kwame, is it Kwame Nyame or something, in BA, was found under the bed of the then BA minister. I have all the pictures. They are all here. So I'm saying that let's keep away from these things. Whether NDC MPP, whether CPP, or whether Suhini or Stephen, we have been making these mistakes for far too long. We need to reposition ourselves, align our mindset, and develop this country, because those developed countries, they are not better than us. I think this has to be well understood.
I'm grateful. Honorable Senior, I'll come back to you. Let's take some comments from Johnny, and then we'll come back.
Thank you very much. It says, "Hi, Bright. Good morning. I want to congratulate Mr. Sticker for being for making those good suggestions. But I'd like him to direct all that he's saying to the current government to start, so that we will all live in peace." Susuka from South Treso in Kumasi. So, Mr. Amwa, yeah, you tell your government. Good morning, Mr. Amfo. The hopeless NPP are sobbing and sniveling over past contrition. Well, meanwhile, they are paving the way for even more future confusion. Okay, interesting there. Jonathan, hold on with the messages so that we can read the ones we have here at this point. Thank you very much. No, the messages come in at the time. Is this the first time you're coming here? Hi, good morning, TV3. And Ghana's leadership should wake up wild, because what happened in Ayawaso West Wogon is a shadow of 2020. If the stakeholders of the country do not wake up to put off the light that made this shadow clear for us to see that something is coming, the reality will catch up with us while our eyes are wide open. Let's wake up and put off the fire as early as possible. 2020 is so closer than we see it. Pastor F. Godson is sending godly counsel. Good morning, TV3. Ghana is no longer a safe country under Akufo-Addo's government. I'm scared for the future of the Ghana police, because invisible forces have taken over their job. Hypocrite people, so-called peace council, can't they see what's going on? Are they blind, or they can't see? My prayer is that God will spare the lives of the innocent Ghanaians. Osman Brunkusan in Tamale. Good morning, TV3. Kudos. You have assembled two great and fine gentlemen to discuss Ghana today. How I wish they will be the only persons you should be hosting for the morning show. Makash from Ho. Interesting. Good morning, TV3. I think Stephen has spoken very well, but he should go to MPP and tell them what he has said. We have seen the same group go to court, beat up the judge and took their members out. Well, I'm sure. Now we have given them guns and state vehicles to attack people. I think that if the ruling party does not do something about this, talking about investigation, the one who will attack the presidency, we should wake up Emmanuel Tamale. Kwablam policy bank says National Council signed MPP leader hiring men to be supported at the National Council must not be critical and discriminative against NDC supporters. Greetings to Mr. Herrick. And good morning, TV3. I think we're joking as a country. Are we saying even if the president appointed the IGP or not, he cannot stand on his feet and do what is right? Why do we vote? I'm told seeing security is more important than free SHS. The president should wake up. David from Russia. Mr. Host, just ended by elections that was characterized by skirmishes and gun shooting attack on innocent lives is mind-boggling and condemnable. This gross impunity has dented Ghana's democratic credentials and the acclamation of being a beacon of hope, of democracy, I beg your pardon, and the constitutional rules in the African continent. We must allow this to fester. We must not allow this to fester going forward. And let's squash it down. Someone Banana in. Good morning, TV3. This is what we experience when our president is being bodyguarded by thugs, even at the presidency. Good morning, TV3. I'm so much disappointed in the NDC man's submission on the political violence we're experiencing from the NDC and MPP. They should know that the country is bigger than both parties. Roland from Boso. Good morning, Bright, and your panelists. In fact, I wanted to suggest to TV3 and TV stations as well as radio stations should rather invite social commentators independent of political representation, because the politicians only come there to defend their political parties. But Honorable Sidi Amoah nearly proved me wrong. Meanwhile, Honorable Alasan Sohini proved me right. His presentation is objective like that. Oh, Honorable Amoah. Good morning, Johnny. I think it's hard time you need not host these NDC and MPP. They don't add anything to our citizens, but rather to defend the scrupulous things in their parties. Faith without works is nuisance. Apia, Moransa, Cape Coast. And maybe finally, the Ghana we know is not the same again. Every leader wants to satisfy their needs before what the country's positioned them to do, even if we are not careful due to poor leadership. In fact, we cannot even produce local furniture. People will always be people, and God will always be God. Ezekiel Eze from Tamale. Finally, Senior Bright, good morning to you and your team. God bless you guys for the good work you're doing. Please, can you make a follow-up on the Ghana ambulance form sold to the general public a year ago, and how far with the recruitment? Thank you very much. Indeed. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Okay. All right.
And he talks about honesty.
You have to hold on.
You just spoke about honesty.
I want to learn.
No, you just spoke about honesty. Remember, you finished. I was going to come in. He asked me to hold
we
my
have very
notes.
little time, so if we can, yes, we'll just wrap up.
You see, right, there's something that we have to address in this country. And it is in line with what Mr. Amoah talks about when he says that, you know, as a people, we are all involved in getting things right. But our understanding of what the things are and what has to be done should also be such that our contributions will be meaningful. For example, when you talk about the need for a specific problem that has been, that we are faced with, and the need for that problem to be isolated and dealt with, the fact that that issue may affect another political party does not mean you are playing politics. It only means you love Ghana more. And you are saying this is the problem. This is the problem. And if that problem is not dealt with, because it affects one political party, it is going to consume all of us. It is not playing politics.
His argument is that
I'm not even into his argument.
The formation of the groups, they do not.
I'm not even into. I'm into the general understanding of what is politics. And this person, you are playing politics, because that is what we have done over the period. That don't mind them, they are doing politics. Oh, don't mind them, they are doing politics. So a judge is beaten out of his place by tax. Oh, don't mind them, they are doing politics. You know, the passport office is seized. Oh, they are doing politics. It's NDC MPP as usual. No, there's a problem. Then he talks about, you know, the formation of groups,
which he says it started. Of course, suggesting that the NDC also had groups.
People know the history. I mean, those who are old enough know, and those who care enough, you know, read about the history. Azoka and the boys, as they attempt, started within an NDC internal contest. And Brad, remember I said that we have had some of these spectacles of violence, sometimes intra-party or, inter-party. We have had it. And Azoka and their boys started, I think it was Takrady, during an internal NDC contest. That was when the DFP broke away.
But that is not to suggest that you're endorsing.
I'm not endorsing it, but no, they were not even. It was not a group formed.
If you accept
like I said, no, right? You see,
I'm a very happy person.
There's a need for us. There's a need for us to educate people in this discussion. I'm saying that. I am saying that. You see, that is another lie. I haven't accepted anything like that. That's a lie. But see, the point is that I'm saying that it was not formed. Remember when I spoke earlier, I said that sometimes people out of their overzealousness in support of one candidate or the other can sometimes result to violence. So it was not like a group formed. They supported one candidate over the other. And since then, we have not heard the Azoka boys seizing any state facility. No. It is also again during by-elections because of their overzealousness to support their party. Sometimes they have engaged in this. And we have had the Bamba boys and others in the MPP do it. And I'm saying it has been with us. But this specific issue of forming forces, where you have vulgar bulldogs, they are in charge of Northern region. You have those in charge of Ashanti region. You have those in charge of Greater Accra. This is new. You have Serbians coming to train them. This is new. You now have a situation where they are putting on state security uniforms and having access to state vehicles. That is new and that is bad, and that must be dealt with specifically so that other political parties in future do not copy this new law again. That is the point I'm making. And when he talks about the history of violence, look, I'm sorry about that. I disagree with Amua. I disagree with Amua when he talks about the history. And I disagree, even if you will permit me.
No, we don't have time.
I'm saying that, look, everybody knows what the UP did. The PNDC, NDC has never thrown bombs.
Let me get.
They have never pounded private parts of women.
Let me get. I am wrapping up.
They did it.
But
Mr. Political party in this country.
Mr. Stephen Amwa, do you concede to the fact that this issue is getting a lot more dangerous? Do you?
You know why? I do, but do you know why? The reason
I'm happy you do.
It's getting more dangerous. It is getting more dangerous.
I'm not supposed to even be asked this.
It's because politics.
Supported firmly your question. But do you know why it's getting worse? It's getting worse because you have members of parliament who knew the seizure of toilets, toll booths in Ghana here were not even part of our political discourse.
Okay.
And they started it. And he's here not accepting the fact that we have to move forward. Then of course it's much more risky.
2001 was when it started. Private. 2001. We didn't know some of these things until
I have wrapped up the conversation.
We didn't know it until MPP came to power.
I have wrapped up the conversation.
General Rollins who bond up.
I am grateful. Gentlemen, I am grateful. Gentlemen, I am grateful. Stephen Amwa is the chief executive of Maslock. Alhaji Suhini is the MP for Tamale North. That's how we wrap up the show. Stay with us. There's more coming up.
Very well. Welcome back, and you're still here on Newday. And we're going to be talking about professionalizing political marketing and campaigning. Of course, you've seen so much politics around the scene, and I'm sure you're wondering what it means to professionalize it. I'm no professor in that, but I've got two great people. I've got Professor Jennifer Lees-Marshman. She is of the University of Auckland, and she is a global expert on political marketing. She'll be talking to us about this. And also Dr. Kobi Mensah. He is a political marketing expert with the University of Ghana Business School. Good morning, gentlemen and lady.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Great. Thank you for honoring this invitation. So let's kickstart with political marketing or campaigning. We've seen so much on the political front. We seem to have an idea or think there's a way that Ghanaian politics is supposed to be. But globally, when we all talk about political marketing, what is the right thing? What should it look like? What is the definition for this?
Well, it basically means that politicians will listen to and respond to voters' needs and wants, and then create a product, including policies, to that responds to that, but also deliver it. So don't just make false promises and promise the earth, you know, and promise you're going to build amazing roads and schools and then not deliver it. That's not good political marketing. Good political marketing is more honest and more trustworthy than that.
Dr. Kobi Mensah, talking about honesty and, you know, trust, we seem to have a big issue with that when it comes to the, you know, Ghanaian scene. For time past, let's not forget, recently we had the by-elections in Ayawaso West, where we had political violence, and that seems to go against our democracy. Just today, the custodian recaps many historic events of by-elections from Triponi to Talensi to Etiwa, and we're back to Ayawaso West. When we talk about political campaigning and marketing in all these by-elections we've seen, it seems to be two big wigs in the political, you know, front, always fighting against each other with the insults, the true, you know, the false informations that go out there. Do you think this affects our democracy and also affects the political campaigning and marketing sphere as a whole?
Definitely. I mean, I have always said that if the political parties really have strategy, they wouldn't deploy in a false means, for example, intimidation, etc., because they don't have that capacity. They don't have the strategy. They don't know how good to connect to the voters. They always fall back on the, you know, the bad ways of doing it. But I think that if we actually open up and then listen and then consult, and then also make sure that we're set out to train ourselves better in a way that we can connect, as Jennifer said, to the voters' needs and then implement them, they would not actually fall onto, you know, the negative ways. I mean, we have had a lot of incidences of what do you call violence in by-elections. And definitely it's affected our standing internationally. I mean, we pride ourselves as one of the most stable regions, not only in Africa, but globally as well. Ghana is very stable. But of course, whenever there is that election, there's that brink that it brings us to that point. I think that we've got to really look up to solving that particular issue. And that means training ourselves in the best strategy possible, in the best programs that globally everybody is signing up to. And that's why we're talking about political marketing, making sure that parties actually are equipped with the strategies, with the tactics, with the know-how of connecting to voters and making sure that they can actually make an impact.
So where as a country have we failed? Because I'm sure what you're talking about has been spoken about many years down the line, and we're still where we seem to be. No, we don't see any change or advancement when it comes to the political scene. Is it that we as voters have also given them the impetus to think that telling us the lies is the way to win a vote, or fighting it off is the way to go about it?
Largely, I think it's a supply. I mean, when you talk about political marketing, although it's been ongoing for some time, the crusade, the campaign, the activism has been ongoing. I think that there's no critical supply of that particular expertise, and therefore politicians may not know any way other than what they're used to. So we're actually campaigning that people must start taking a political marketing consultancy where they could provide critical services to politicians that, yes, we can manage your campaign in the best civil, very effective, efficient way possible to connect to the voters. Now, when people start going into that space, just like we have advertising agencies, we have PR agencies, when people start taking up political consulting agencies, now politicians can fall on those services and make sure that their campaigns are effectively connected with the voters. So that's one. And secondly, I think that we should actually leave we're very conservative. We stick up to the old ways of doing things. We must start opening up to new ideas, to new thinking, to new strategies, and then start taking that up. I think we can be very good in managing the political sphere and making sure that the voters are getting exactly what they demand or what they need from the political parties.
Very well. So, Professor Jennifer, let me ask you this. Having come from the global perspective and being in Ghana for a while, giving your talks, I'm wondering if you've gotten any feedback from the politicians to be able to find out where the problems are and making sure that we get that professional, political marketing or campaigning strategies that you're talking about.
I think there are two problems. One is that sense of, well, this is the way we've always done it, so why change? And yet, as we've discussed in our training sessions, the first politician and party to adopt effective and high quality political marketing will actually reap incredible electoral dividends because they will rush ahead of the opposition. The other thing is a misconception about what political marketing is. A lot of people, and this was the same in the UK 20 years ago when I started doing what Kobe was doing, is doing here in Ghana, started doing it there, is a lot of people think it's just spin doctoring or media management or the billboards you see, pretty pictures sort of thing. It's not. Good political marketing will start at least a year before the election, if not more, because you need to research and understand and listen to your voters. You need to segment them, and because some people will never support you. It's not about going after everybody, just with business marketing. And also you need to have time to think and strategize about what you're going to do and build up a positive relationship with voters. So the best and most effective political marketing is done before the campaign starts. And whereas a lot of people think, let's get somebody in for the campaign, and then it doesn't work. They need to be recruiting consultants now, actually, for the 2020 election.
Very well. So as voters also, what kind of advice would you give us out there to be able to tell the difference between the kind of political marketing we've been seeing? Because clearly, if for many years we've also known a trend, then that is what we stick to. If someone deviates, we may very well think that person is off course and may, vote against the person. So what really should we look out for, listen out for when these people mount these, platforms?
So a good politician and a good political marketer won't make you promises that seem too grand and seem untrue and aren't deliverable. So that's the key thing. Don't fall for false promises that you know in your heart are unlikely to be achievable in the first term of government. So look for people who are more realistic and don't promise the earth. And the other thing is avoid negativity. So politicians love to go negative about each other, but really what voters need and are looking for is somebody who's going to talk about what they're going to do, not why somebody at the opposition was wrong. So you want to look for a bit more maturity, really. And somebody's going to offer a product and policies and promises that are realistic and are actually something they can do in the next term of Parliament.
Dr. Kobe Mensah, do you see this happening in the very near future?
Certainly. I mean, obviously, we have come a long way, especially if you look at the 2000 election, which I think was a watershed. I mean, and the previous elections. Obviously, in 2000, we saw how, Jacob Echebilamte of blessed memory, actually masterminded, the 2000 elections. So it means that yes, we can actually make a headway in that. So I think that it's all about the stakeholders coming together and saying that we don't actually like what we're saying. We don't actually like the current, the regime. But let's move on for something better, something of a global, practice, as we always say. Now, I have always argued that if we start professionalizing our space, now politicians will have a long span. I mean, in terms of the pressures that comes with it, with the current regime, will go away. Because can you imagine if you actually setting out your campaign and you call in boys of the area immediately after the election, they're coming to get their share from you. And of course, if you actually get a consultant to work for you, surely those guys are going to be paid their wages, so therefore they don't have a direct access to you and say, I campaigned for you. Certainly, those companies are going to be paying taxes, so you broaden your GDP because, of course, there's a tax coming from the consultants who are actually working for you. And then, of course, you better understand the political system because then you stay on your core competence while somebody strategizes for you, while somebody actually does the legwork for you. So there is so much that we can actually gain if we have to professionalize the entire electioneering process. Currently, we're discussing about funding, and we are saying the political parties are actually facing crisis with funding, and therefore, enough to we call the political enterprise. Now, if you have a very political strategy working for you, they will plan funding, they will plan on campaigning, they will be listening, surgery, etc. They will put all this together for you. Actually, wait early morning. You have maybe speech somewhere. By that time, you have been supplied with your speech by consultants who are in it, right? There's so many activities people can actually specialize in and supply that service. I think that there's there are a lot of reasons why we must move into that space and make sure that we're bettering our system as opposed to the current regime.
Very well. Finally, are political strategies expensive? The consultants?
Yes and no. So on one hand, yes, you do need to pay them, but often, certainly my interviews with political advisors in the UK, US, and Canada, New Zealand, and Australia suggest they don't tend to do it for the money. They tend to be marketing consultants and communication advisors anyway, already doing a lot of paid work for businesses, and that's where they get their income. But they do the political work because they believe in the party. So they do tend to be partisan, but they are very objective because they're trained in marketing and communication and research. So they provide very professional services. So in that respect, I don't think it costs as much as people want. But it's about what are you going to invest in? Are you going to just spend your time coming up with grand promises that really will never deliver, or any other kind of electioneering that you've talked about? Or are you going to spend it getting good advice on how to come up with a strategic product that responds to key target markets that will enable you not just to get into power, but actually to do some good once you've got there?
So finally, Dr. Mensah, just in a second, just tell us how the seminar went and what we're supposed to expect on the political scene after that.
Yeah, I think it was very well attended. We had a public lecture on the Thursday, and then after we had a training, training political communicators and other communication staff on political strategy, how to become a strategist. Students participated as well. We had graduate students who also attended. So I think it was very well received. Obviously, we still keep on doing the work, making sure that people understand what it is that can actually better our system. So we're still on the advocacy, to push the agenda. And I'm sure Jennifer would join us another time. Obviously she's done with the work. She has to go back, but I'm sure later in the year we expect her to come again.
One of the nice things is seeing the interest from other graduate students and academics in this area. COBI's been growing the field, and we hope that my visit stimulates greater growth.
Very well, we do hope so. But finally, there's a resource material that people who are interested in politics.
Yes, currently we have a political marketing in Ghana, a book that published at one of the series that Jennifer was editing, and then we also have the training manual that we actually have.
So people who are interested can contact you and get that.
This.
Very well. So I have been speaking to Professor Jennifer Lees Marshman. She is from University of Auckland, and she is a global expert on political marketing, and also Dr. Kobe Mensah, political marketing expert at the University of Ghana Business School. We have been talking about professionalizing political marketing and campaigning in Ghana, and I hope that indeed this talk stimulates you to make sure that those who mount the platforms are giving us promises that indeed they can comply with, and make sure as a voter you are listening very carefully to what they promise. If it's too grand, it can't be true. So on that note, we'll take a break, but we have Ochame coming back. He's released a new video, and Johnny Hughes will be talking to him about that. Let's take a break.
And it's talking about faithfulness there, and I'm sure you're getting a hint now. As multiple award-winning musician is arguably the man to go to if you want to promote Ghanaian music to the rest of the wonderful world. He's fashionable, he's a father figure, he's a mentor, he's an entrepreneur, and guess what? He's a man who wears many hats. Ochame Kwame is here. Brah! How you doing?
I'm great.
Looking good as always.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
So this year is the year of return. 400 years since the first set of slaves were sent to Virginia, Jamestown, all of that. Are you involved?
Yes, I am.
How
Fully.
are you involved?
Fully. So, wow, I'm involved at so many levels. So you know that I am one of the cultural ambassadors, tourism ambassadors for Ghana. So with that, I have created a song.
Okay.
Yes, with Sizzla Kalonji. Called Brefier, which will be launched later in the year.
Right.
And then apart from that, I'm working with one of the chiefs in Cape Coast.
Okay.
That we are going to allocate some lands. Actually, Kojo Sahara in Nanampa, Kojo Sahara II.
Okay.
We're going to allocate some lands for some of the Black Americans or interested Black Americans who love to own a piece of Ghana.
Okay.
Cape Coast along the beach, you know, so that's one. I'm also heavily integrated into that one. And then I'm also, we have so many events coming up, somewhere in June, some in July, some at the castle, some here at the National Theatre that we're going to use to welcome, you know. So I'm actually in talks with Sizzla Kalonji to see if he'll be willing to come down to Ghana to release the music. So,
absolutely,
yes.
man. That'll be a swell moment. I tell you what.
Yes,
but so far so good. If you look at the tourism landscape, you think we're doing well in terms of welcoming our people back home?
I think that the whole communication on the strategy and the little things that we are doing to welcome them is amazing. But I think we need to do some home cleaning first.
For example, okay.
For example, we need to clean the streets.
Okay.
We need to clean the streets of Cape Coast well. We need to clean Accra well. Okay. Because when they visit, I know that over 20,000 people or 20,000.
So about 500,000
exactly.
people are being expected.
Exactly. And when they come to Ghana, what are they taking home with them? Is it the places that we take them, or the little corners that they are going to take photos of? You say we should come to Africa, because we are always having two types of energies, the positive energy and the negative energy. All of them are coming. So, and they are coming with smartphones. So as they come, how do we ensure that we keep that Ghanaianness, that clean, value-oriented Ghana? And I think it begins with us cleaning our little corners. Cleaning, you know, so
2018 was a very good year for you. 2019 started well, but what's the outlook?
The outlook is that, you know, I dropped the Made in Ghana song and it did so well. It's still doing well.
I'm
still
made
in the
in Ghana. I'm made in Ghana. I'm made in Ghana. I'm made in Ghana. You can take me to Toronto. I'm made in Ghana. You can
take me to Lagos,
but I'm made in Ghana.
You know, so it was amazing. Like just we are singing. So this year we are going to keep releasing the singles, one per month. So I just dropped a video which is having amazing reviews. You know? So I did a song with Efriye of Wuta fame. You know that the Made in Ghana concept I spoke about. We are doing 10 different songs for 10 regions. And each region we are going to mimic the mood and the stereotypes and find out what makes us Ghanaian. Is it the clothes? Is it the greetings? Is it the language? You know,
the food,
whatever it is. So we are doing videos of these regions and capturing the sights and smiles. So, yes.
Let's take a look at the new one. What's the title of this?
The song is called Bra.
Bra.
Yes.
Come. Okay.
Bra.
Come where?
Come home.
Take a look at Bra. It's trending. It's hot.
say beje. To wunti say bini leggings and jeggings like I just say from the family swami home tea. You could run at one never come she. I want them so better me why she. Now me ex girl be number rest in the gym, send me friend in no me come.
Oh boy, you got Wuta to wear cloth.
Yes.
How did you convince him to do that?
More conscious than
you.
I know,
yes,
I know,
very,
I know. But you don't find him wearing that on a stage performing like we would find you doing that.
I know, you know, his thing is high life / reggae, you know, so he has the whole Rasta thing, but you know, it also comes back to roots.
Come back home.
Roots of culture, you know. So
the pictures are sweet, and I find a lot of symbolism in there.
Yes.
Maybe we'll start the video from the very beginning and
Yes.
see, you know, some of the symbols, so you can get to explain
Yes,
some of
yes,
them
yes,
to me
yes,
as
yes,
well.
yes.
So, all right, let's check out. Okay, so that's it there.
Yes.
Started, there's a stool, okay, and then you have some inscription.
Yes.
And then the stool comes up. Benedicta sits on the stool. She gets up. She puts the stool down and walks away.
Yes.
What are you explaining?
So what I'm trying to say is that there's chaos because, like for the Asante man, the most important element or tool for the Asante man is the stool.
Okay.
That's why most Asante fathers, when they get off their seats at home, no one can sit on them.
Okay.
That's the
Right.
the significance
Exactly.
of the stool is that a person's soul lives in his chair.
Right.
You know, so when a person dies, that person's stool is taken and taken away or turned upside down, so that to signify that there's there's chaos or there's death.
Right.
You know, that's why the Asante king goes to Nkunya them, because that once the king sat on it, you know, that person's spirit is believed to.
So you go and pick a stool, and which name is given to you?
Exactly. So the whole idea is that I'm with her at home. She gets up and leaves.
Okay.
After we are fighting, and so
there's some
absence,
bit of void that's created.
the absence creates void. The lack of spiritual presence at home, or a woman's presence at home, and so the whole song is talking about how lately when you marry Ghanaian wives, they change from being a wife to now becoming your mother. Tell you what to do. You hold her. I'm tired. My head. I have presentation. Leave me alone. All that. So I'm telling her that. Don't do that, because there are small girls out there who want my attention. so even
the side chicks and the slave chicks.
Exactly, they will do anything to have your man. You know, so don't do that. Even though you are doing this to me, I still want you.
Right.
So because when I go out there, whatever I get is not equivalent to what you give. However, you are worrying me.
I see.
Yes.
These songs that you write, I mean, I've asked you this question so many times, but what inspired this particular song? Is it because of somebody leaving the husband, fighting at home?
This song, you know, this song talks about polygamy, the man's right to choose multiple wives. However, the whole idea that the one that you started with should always be there, you know, should be treated like gold.
Right.
And then it's also talking about what happens in my house. You know, when I go home, I'm tired, I've gone to work hard, you hold your wife's hand, my head, my neck, my back, leave me alone. Yeah, you know, those little things. And then after speaking to lots and lots of men, I realized that it's a problem that we go through. You just got married, you won't know. It's a problem that we go through as Ghanaian men, you know. So I decided to do a song to warn the women to stop, and to remind the men that no matter how it is, she did your back.
These women who are supposed to be treated like gold, are they buying into this message?
Well, I just put out the video 2 days ago, you know, so, and the song just came out about a week ago. So I hope that they will listen, dance to it, and take the message.
The message.
Yeah, the message. So let us wait maybe until 6 months when the song is a big hit.
Okay, then let's see an assessment of
if they will dance to it. Or plus, I've also played the song to some women. They think that I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we always get that reaction. Whether it's pepper them, sugar them, chop them, or black pepper things. But you mentioned gold. I'm interested. Your name has been synonymous with gold. Is that gold?
No, I wish. I wish it was gold.
But you mentioned gold. Your name has come up with men's gold.
Yes.
People say, well, you led them the wrong path. Do you want to respond to it?
Well, I think that for the men's gold issue, I don't think that having a conversation like this, do you have time?
Yeah, a little time.
So,
but they say you led them down the wrong path.
So this is what I'm going to do. At the right time. Now the issue is with the police.
Okay.
So I don't want to say anything to disturb the balance. So at the right time.
Did you lead them down the wrong path?
Not yet. At the right time.
Did you lead them down the wrong path?
Not yet. You are not going to get an answer. We can do this till they close.
I'm okay.
Let's do it.
Did you lead them down the wrong
Not
path?
yet.
Did you lead them down the
Not
wrong
yet.
path? Did you mislead them?
Not yet.
Did you mislead them?
Not yet.
He's not ready to respond to your question.
No. I will do a press conference.
Because I have a yellow shirt. It represents gold.
I will do a press conference and get the media to come so that we do an actual 2 hours interaction. This is too short.
Okay.
So that
when are we to expect?
Because the issue is with the police. I have my plans to organize.
Are you not worried that it affects your brand? People think of you that you misled them, in quote?
Not yet.
You are not worried at all?
Not yet.
Because it has not affected you?
Not yet.
Because adversely your business has not been hit?
Not yet.
Did you invest in men's gold?
Not yet.
Not at all?
Not yet.
But if it comes back, you would invest?
Not yet. Wait, because it's a very sensitive issue. So it's not something that you go and speak about it for 2 minutes on TV and walks away.
I can give you time if you want to talk about it. You have not given me indication that you want to speak about it. If you give me indication, I'll give you time.
No, I'll call you to my press conference. Then you can come and ask all these intelligent questions. Then we can sit down and have a 2-hour discussion on direction.
But you don't know when the press conference is happening. But you call me.
Yes, okay. I will.
All right, Ochame Kwame, thank you very much, and I wish you the best of success for Bra. Bra is a hit. Go out there, download it, play it, learn the lessons that come along with it, and apply them in your life. It will help you. My name is Johnny Hughes, and know that if you can think it and your heart can believe it, only you can achieve it. See you tomorrow.